So in the today's class, we'll study in detail data flow modeling. The previous class, we studied the gate level model. So in this, we studied the primitives, that is the basic AND, OR gate, NAND, NOR, XOR. Then we used the buffer, that is a BUF, then not buffer or not. So then we studied the different delays we studied, that is rise delay, fall delay, and turn off delay. Then what are the values we can have for each delay? Those things also we studied. That is the minimum, maximum, and the typical delays. Now next we study about the data flow modeling. So what is meant by data flow modeling? For a small circuits, actually the gate level model approach will work very well for a small circuit, because as you know, the gate level modeling is nothing but interconnection of gates actually. But if it is a number of gates is limited, and the designers can instantiate and connect every gate in the gate level model. Now we need to know, for if it is a complex design, say example, if the number of gates is very large, then the designers will think more effectively, they will concentrate on the implementation and the function of level of abstraction higher than the gate level normally, because normally the gate level is a lower abstraction level. Now your data flow model will provide the powerful way to implement a design. So at that time the Verilog will allow a circuit to be designed in terms of data flow between register and how your data process data rather than the instantiation of individual gates. We said already the data flow model specifies the Boolean expression only, we said. So apart from that, so here still more of the features also we can see. So the data flow modeling will be a very popular design approach as the logic synthesis tool have become sophisticated. So now this approach will allow the designers to concentrate and optimize the circuit in terms of data flow. So as the name specifies, the data flow between register and data flow between the register, that is the meaning of data flow actually. So now here what we'll do, so let us see what and all we are going to study in this data flow model. Here we are going to study what is the data flow model. Then here we are going to show how to use the continuous assignment statements. Then we are going to display how to specify the delays in the continuous assignment as well like in the gate level model. Then we are going to study some of the data types allowed in Verilog HDL. Then some operations of the operators used in Verilog HDL. So these are the things we are going to study in this chapter. So now first thing is, let us say, so what is a continuous assignment statement? Here we can say a continuous assignment statement is the basic statement in the data flow model. Why? In the sense it will be used to drive a value on a net. As you know, the net means wire actually. So now we say simple, how we will specify the continuous assignment statement. So that will be specified as like starts with the keyword as assign. This already we studied. The data flow model for the continuous assignment statement, the keyword to start with assign. So they represents the structural connection. One is they are used for modeling tri-state buffer. This assign actually then can be used for modeling combinational logic. Then they are outside the procedural blocks. What is procedural blocks? We'll study in the behavioral model. That is like your assign statements will be outside of the always and the initial block. It never come within the always or initial block. Next, the continuous assign overrides any procedural assignments. Then one more thing very important here, the left hand side of a continuous assignment must be a net data type. So very important, the left hand side, in the sense we will write assign y is equal to a and b. That y must be a wire data type, it cannot be a register. So that is very, very important. So here let us say how the syntax will be. The syntax for assign followed by drive strength. The drive strength in the sense in the initial I shown so many drive strength values are the 0, 1, X, Z, W, all those things. Then delay, this is all with the bracket which we shown here, it's optional one. Next, the net value. Net value means your output expression or any wire expression also I can say is equal to this is expression. So what is the statements we are going to write? Now see here, the drive strength here is optional. The default value is strong 1 and the strong 0. That is the default value. Then the delay is optional. Now let us see what is the characteristics of continuous assignment statement. The characteristics, the continuous. First, the left hand side of the assignment must be scalar or vector. In the sense, when I write, so let me show here. Say example, assign y is equal to A and B. See here, I will say here in this, the left hand side assignment must be always scalar or vector. This one always must be scalar or vector, or concatenation of scalar and vector also. So it can be like this also. So sometimes assign, I will open the concatenation operator, y comma x is equal to A and B. Even I can write like this also. Here, you see the left hand side of the assignment statement must be always a scalar or vector, net or a concatenation of scalar or vector. You can assume sometimes the y may be a scalar type, x can be a vector type, so it can be anything. But very important, it cannot be a scalar or vector register. That is very, very important, because you see the register will be used in the behavioral level only. So if you declare any register, that variable cannot be used in the assign statement in the left hand side, but you can use in the right hand side. That is the meaning of that. Then the continuous assignment statements are always active. That is the one thing. Is next, the assignment expression is evaluated as soon as one of the right hand side operands change the value assigned to the left hand side. So what will happen? So when this value will get changed, the y value, as soon as the A and B value get changes, as soon as it's evaluated, that will be assigned to y. That is the meaning of assign statement. The data is transferring from here to here. That is the meaning between the registers. Okay? That will happen inside the logic synthesis tool normally. The operands on the right hand side can be registered. That is what I said. Can be registers or net or function calls. But registers or nets can be scalar or vector. Next here, see, so we can use the delay values can be specified for assignments in terms of time units actually. The delay values will be used to control the time when net is assigned to evaluate the value. See, a simple, I will say, the example of continuous assignments. See, out is net, I1 and I2 are net. Now, all the three variables are nets. In the sense, I can write as assign out is equal to I1 and I2. So, this is simple continuous assign. Now, continuous assign for vector nets now. Now, adder is a 16-bit vector net. Now, adder 1 and adder 2 are 16-bit vector. We need to perform a 16-bit addition. So, how can I do in the sense, say, assign adder of 15:0. See, this is what I said, left hand side. We can use the vector also equal to adder 1 underscore bits of 15:0 XOR with added 2 underscore bits of 15:0. You can write in this way also. The third thing is, as I said, you can use the concatenation also on the left hand side. See here, net and a vector net assign C underscore out sum 3 colon 0 is equal to A 3 colon 0 plus B 3 colon 0 plus C. This is the program is nothing but for it's a 4-bit adder. See, this is 4-bit adder. I hope in a single statement I can write the 4-bit adder in the data flow. If you are going for a get level, you need to write 4 full adders. You have to call. Now you see here, I'll get the output as C out comma sum, because I don't want to lose the carry out. So we are using the concatenation operator here. So what will happen when it's doing A 4-bit, B also 4-bit, the C in this scalar value. So now this is nothing but your 4-bit adder. So net and vector, 4 vector. We used this also. So now there is a shortened method of placing a continuous assignment on a net. So what is the shortened method? First method is implicit continuous assignment. Simple, I can say, instead of declaring a net, that is a wire, and then writing a continuous assignment on the net, the Verilog will provide a shortcut. So what is the shortcut? So here, so the continuous assignment can be placed on a net where it is declared. Simple here. See, there can be only one implicit declaration assignment statement per net, because the net is declared by only once only really. So only once only I can use. See, simple as a regular. I will show the difference of the regular continuous assignment and the implicit assignments now. See, regular in the sense, see example, wire out assign out, this is a variable, right? Out is equal to I1 and I2. Now we need to write two statements to execute this. Instead of this, within a single statement I can execute. How can? Wire out is equal to in1 and in2. So this is nothing but the same will be achieved by this kind of statement. So this statement only we can call it as implicit continuous assignment statement. So instead of these two statements, we reduce to only one statement. See here, implicit net declaration. See, implicit net declaration now. If a signal name is used to the left side, that is, if a signal name is used to the left of the continuous assignment, and implicit net declaration will be indirect for the signal name. See here example, let me say here, sometimes the net will be connected to module port and the width of the net is equal to the width of the module port. Means the continuous assign out is net. See example here, wire I1, I2 is there. Assign out is equal to I1 and I2. So in this you can see, where is this out? The out is nothing but already we might have declared as a output. We are not used in a wire action. We might have declared in a output. So out is equal to I1 and I2. So note that here the out was not declared as a wire, but an implicit wire declaration for out is done by the simulator normally out, because the wire I1, I2, we are not used anything like input is I1 and I2. We are not used. Straight away used. So that is something but simple the another way here. Now let us see the delays. Now the delay values control the time between the change in the right hand side operand and when the leave value is assigned to the left hand side. So here how it will be like you may assign some delay. The right hand side operation will be performed after certain amount of delay only, that will be assigned. So here we are going to show that delay will be used in the left hand side as well as in the right hand side also. What are the different ways are there to specify the delays in the continuous assignment statements? The first way is regular assignment delay. The second way is implicit continuous assignment delay. The third way is the net declaration delay. First, let us say what is regular assignment delay. That other sometimes we call as initial delay, we can say. So the first method is used to assign a delay value in a continuous assignment statement. When I will use use in the sense, so that will be used after the keyword assign. Very important. The initial delay or the regular assignment delay, where I will use in the sense, the default value is specified after the keyword assign actually. So now, any changes in the value of IN1 or IN2 will result in a delay of 10 units. See example here. So the example here. See, this is the example. Assign after the immediately we used #10. So this is nothing but a example for regular assignment. That is initial delay. Out is equal to in1 and in2. So what will get happen in this now normally? So it is very simple. We can say when the signal in1 and in2 go high at time 20 in the sense, the out goes to the high 10 times units later than, means why? Because here we can, you have to think in this way. Your I1 and I2 will go after some delay in the sense the output will be produced after some amount of delay only. Say example #10 is that. Or if I say in simpler way, if you consider this like zero delay only, then when you will get the output, if I'm not specified is #10, so at the zero delay itself, I will get the output because of I'm not specified any delay. But if you specify some delay over here, then output will be produced after this amount of time only. So not later than. So very important, I can say. So in this, see, in this variable we given, see like in1, in2, example you say at time 0 to 10. You have to see this waveform here. Clearly you see the in1, see from 0 to 10, 0 to 20, the in1 is 0. From 20 to 60, the in1 is 1. Same the way in2, 0 to 10 is 0 to 20 is 0. 20 to 60 is 1 or 85 1 only. Now out, actually the out is what is the statement is out is equal to in1 and gate actually, but the output will produce after 10. You see here itself you are getting in1 into 0 0 is there, but it won't produce any output here at time 0. Why? The reason is we given the delay. How much delay is given? After 10 only. So what will happen up to this time? So this 0 0 after 10 delay only the output will be produced. So I can say each and every time the output will be delayed by 10 units. That is what here in this waveform you can see. Later you can cross check how it is, how you are getting. Next, the second example you see here. This is the diagram we are showing here. X, Y, one AND gate, one more AND gate, the NOT gate, the output is F. There is a wire here, A. There is a one more wire NOT, its output I can say as B. See now how it is be written. This is nothing but not a data flow model. It's supposed to be a gate level model. I hope you remember because we used the primitives, right? So just the example I'm showing here. Next is implicit continuous assignment delay. The first delay which you studied is a regular assignment delay or initial delay. Now implicit. The implicit in the sense what? As you know, it's an equivalent method is to use an implicit continuous assignment to specify both a delay and an assignment on the net. So like even delay as well as the assignment also in the net I can do. So simple, the implicit continuous assignment delay we can say as wire #10 out is equal to in1 and in2. Now you see this is your implicit continuous assignment now. Now how can I write this in a other way, that is wire out assign #10 out is equal to in1 and 2. So this statement is same as even this also. So both will give you same output only, even like this or like this break. So the declaration above has the same effect as defining a wire out and declaring a continuous assignment on out. Next delay is net declaration delay. Now here a delay can be specified on a net. So that is the meaning of net declaration. So a delay can be specified on a net instance wire. So when it is declared without putting a continuous assignment on the net. So without using the assignment statement, we can use the delay in the wire also. If the delay is specified on net out, for example, if a delay is specified net out, then any value changes applied to the net out is delayed accordingly. See here, we'll say the net declaration delays can also be used in gate level modeling. This is what we did in the gate level model also. So example here for net delay, wire hash 10 out. So this statement, how can I write? Assign out is equal to in 1 and in 2. Now you can see this is wire hash 10 we specify. The delay is already specified. The wire hash 10, then assign out in the sense automatically it will produce the output after 10 only. The net declaration we specify the delay in the net. That is the meaning of this net declaration. So the above statement has the same effect as the following. How can I write this same? See, wire out assign hash 10 out is equal to in1 and in2. No, these two statements will be equivalent to these two statements. So, but this statement is nothing but what? It is nothing but the previous one we said, implicit continuous statements actually. So, net declaration as well as that both are same effect only. Now here, data flow modeling will describe and design in terms of expressions instead of primitive gates. As you know, the gate level model has primitives like with the keywords and or XOR, XNOR, NAND, NOR like that. But in the data flow modeling, they are in the form of expressions, operators, operands. So now first, what is the expressions here? The expressions are constructs that combine operator and operands to produce a results. That is nothing but an expression. Examples we can say A XOR B. See here, it's a combined the operator and operand. Operand is A and B is a operand. The XOR symbol is nothing but an operator. So that will yield expressions. Next, address 1 of 20 colons. This is the second example. Then in 1 or into. This is one more example for expressions. Next, operands. Operands can be any one of the data type. Your operand. Some constructs will take only certain types of operands. So which operands can be like constants, integers, real numbers, or it can be nets, or it can be registers, or it can be times, or it can be bit select. That is nothing but what? One bit of vector net or a vector register also. Then part select, in the sense we studied in the vector part select vector, even though that also, and memories are function calls. So these are all operands we can say. So example, see here, integer count comma final count. Integer we declared the count on final count is integer, then the final count is equal to count plus 1. So here the count is an integer operand. Which one? This count. This count is an integer operand actually. Same the way, real A comma B comma C, where C is equal to A minus B, where A and B are real operands. Same, and next example, registers. The register, the reg 1 and the reg 2 both are 16 bits wide. Then another one more register, the register out is 4-bit wide. Then your register out is equal to reg 1 of 3:0 XOR with the reg 2 of 3:0. This is here actually 15:0 is there, but this is a part select. So 3:0 and 3:0 we took. That is the register 1 and register 2 are part select register operands. So here next is register ret underscore value. The ret value will be calculate the underscore parity A comma B. So this calculate underscore parity is a function type operand. Later we study about these functions. We in the fifth module, task and functions will come. In your C program also studied functions. Same, even also has functions. Next, operator. Here the operators will be act on the operands to produce some desired results. The Verilog will provide this type of operators. Which are those operators? One is first D1 and D2, where this double ampersand we use is an operator on operand D1 and D2. Next, this is the operand, that is exclamatory mark, that is an operator on operand A of 0. Next, B double greater than. This is the operator is used for right shift logical. B right shift logical by 1 bit. So this is an operator on operand B and 1. Now, what are the different operator types? The Verilog will provides many different operator types. Properties can be already with arithmetic operator. The arithmetic operator, which includes addition plus, that is subtraction, then multiplication, division. This is modulo. Then what about this? Double asterisk. That is nothing but the power actually. So how it will be in the sense? It will be like this. 2, if I say in this way, in the sense, it will be equivalent to 2 to the power 10. It's like a 2 power 10. This is only nothing but this double asterisk actually. Then logical. The logical will be used here. Double operand. Double operand we are using, that is AND. Then R pipe symbol. Then NOT, XOR, NAND, NOR, XNOR. That is the logical operators. Then relational operators. If you want to relate any value less than equal to, greater than equal to, then equality operator like double equal, triple equal, then not equal to, then not equal to. So this and all later we'll see what it is means. Then bitwise operator. Here bitwise operator means it will perform the operation bitwise, bitwise. So other, this is nothing but can say not and or XOR XNOR. That is a bitwise operator. You may have things like then what is the difference between the bitwise operator and the logical operator here? See, this will perform a bitwise logical operation. So both are almost same, but this logical operator we use in the conditional statements. You can remember in your if statements and all, the double ampersand, double pipe symbol there we will use normally. The rest of the things are common only. Then the reduction operator, we already discussed about reduction operator. It will reduction operator will reduce the value in the sense. Even if you are having inputs are in vector type, the output will be in the Boolean type. So it may give either 1 or 0 only, the outputs. So reduction AND, reduction NAND, reduction OR, reduction NOR, reduction XOR, reduction XNOR. Then shift operator. Here totally we are showing 4 shift operators. One is shift left logical, shift right logical. The triple arrow is there. What is this? It is a shift left arithmetic. This is shift right arithmetic, you can call it. Then concatenation operator will be with the double flower bracket because it will join the value. Then replication, it will duplicate the values the number of times which is specified in the concatenation. Then conditional operator, which will have the, it's nothing but what? It's a ternary operator. Conditional operator is nothing but ternary operator. Question mark with the colon will be there. So now some of these operators are similar to we use in the C programming. See, so many examples here we given. We go through these examples for each and every reduction. What is the example? This all the examples which I given here. You can go through the examples. Even we studied in the previous class also with the simple. We took one example. We wrote so many things. Now we'll see with the operator one simple example. We'll see here. See, this is like your truth table for bitwise operators. Truth table. Go through this truth table because 0 and 0 is 0. And again 0, 1 is 0, 1, 0 is 0, 1, 1 is 1. Then x0 means 0, x1 means x. It is like your identity algebra. That formula only will use this. Very important examination. Sometimes they may give input as 1, 0, 1, x. Like that possibility is there. Concatenation operator, then replication operator. This already we discussed. Replication operator also. Conditional operator. See this Very important here. The conditional operator will take 3 operands, like the usage will be like this. Conditional expression will be there. If the conditional expression if it is true, this statement will be produced. If it is false, then this statement will be produced as a output. So that is very important here. It is like in this a multiplexer. You see the multiplexer, the condition expression is like this. When condition expression means selection line is equal to 0 means it's considered as false. When condition is expression selection line is 1 means that is considered as true. So when it is 0, the false expression will go out as output. When it is 1 means true expression will go as an output. Some examples here we use here. These are so many examples is given. You go through all the examples which is given here. It will be more useful for your even in the examination also, because already we discussed these all the examples. See, so much of example with the help of all the operators is given here. So now what we will do? Operator precedence. Because we studied so many operators here, we must need to know what is the precedence operator in the sense which is having the higher priority, which is having the least priority. See, this is what you need to remember. So the operator symbol precedence, the highest precedence given to unary operator, that is addition, subtraction, that is reduction, not. This is actually, then this is NOT gate. The NOT gate is having the highest precedence. Next is multiply, divide, modulus. See here. Next the add, subtraction. Again you are getting addition, subtraction, no problem. Then shift operation. Next is shifting. Then relational operator. Then equality operator. Then reduction operator. Then logical. Finally conditional. The conditional operator only has the lowest precedence. Now based on this only we need to perform the some examples. So let me go for the examples. This is the example. Like say, if A is equal to 110, B is equal to 11. So let me solve this, or let me explain here only. See, if A is equal to 110, B is equal to 11, and C value is this, and D value is this. Now what we need, the computation we have to perform this. So how we can perform the computation? So they may give the computation is like this. The question is, you should think the question is given as like this. Like let me give you the question. Compute. They may give like this. The question is like this only. Okay. See, this is the question. So you need to compute this. So how do you compute actually? So we need to know like in which order we have to perform. Simply straight away we cannot perform as it like this. So from this we need to check the higher precedence is nothing but what? Not B. So what you have to do first in the sense you have to perform the NOT gate. Once the NOT gate is performed, next what you can do, I will get this value, because if we get this value, then I can do, see, that is will do. Okay, you keep it. Next what you will do, we have to go for the shift operation. See, C right shift by 2-bit position, that is shift late logical. Then AND gate will be there, then D. So one by one I can do. How it is done in the sense, we see first from this we chosen as C right shift by 2. So now what is the C value? C value is 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0. Now what you need to do after first shift? See, after first shift, what is the value you'll get? Any answer? Right shift. So you have to shift towards the right. So I will
0,
after
0, 1, 1, 0,
0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0. This is
0, 0.
After first shift. It's total 6 bit only, right? 6 bits only is there. Yes. Next, see now you perform C right shift by 2 bit. So what I'll get now? 2 bit in the sense already we shifted 1 bit. Again this you shift by 1 more bit. What I'll get? 3 zeros, 1 1 0 I'll get. So now I got the result. The shift to right 2 places. That is C right shift logical by 2 positions. Yes, that is done. Next what you will do? C shift logic that will be indicated with D. See this we can complete it. So this one. See this operation already be done. Indicate with D. For D value is 6 bit is there. 111 Now you perform the bitwise AND gate operation. So now we perform this bitwise AND gate. So the result will be this. Now, okay, now we got this result is over. Now let us complete this left side. So A already we are having, not B you have to perform. So take not B, A, not B, then both you need to concatenate. So that result will be this 1 1 0 0 0 0 will get concatenation operation. Next what you need to do? So this concatenation of A not B or with the complete expression. OR gate you have to do. So do the OR gate. So the result will be 1 1 0 0 1 0. So that is bitwise. So this will be your final answer. Yes. Yeah.
Sir, if we perform sir AND operations, then output is 0 0 1 0 0 0, na sir?
Which AND operation? This one. C right shift to 2 and with D. D yes, is sir. This, right? So you perform the AND gate for this with this. Check 0 1 is 0, 0 1 is 0, 1 0 1 is 0, 1 0 is again 0, 1 1 is 1, 0 1 is 0. AND gate. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So now you can see like this. Sometimes in your examination, what they will do in the sense, they will give a question as like this. If A is equal to B equal to C equal to D equal to, then like verify, they will give this computation expression they will give is equal to, they will give this answer. Once they give the answer, they will ask you to verify whether you are getting the same output or not. So this is very simple expression I give. They may extend this expression, you have to be very careful. That is a one type of question. Then another type of question is they will give the A, B, C, D value. They will give with the options like one option is C right shift by 2. This is the one A subdivision. Second subdivision will be like this, perform this operation. Third subdivision, perform this operation. Like this, they will give subdivision. They will give. So, but 100% you will get the question in this the operators actually. So in the assignment, I will send the assignments to you. You do the assignments. In that I given the questions and all. Even in the study material also, so many examples I given. You go through the examples. See here examples. So many examples I given here. Next we need to know one thing. As I said, right logical and left logical only. I said shift right logical, shift left logical. But still you doesn't know what does this mean. The 3 arrow mark is there, right? So that indicates actually it is like which will be used, where I will use in the sense only for signed number will use. The sense the triple arrow mark specifies here. I'll say shifting operation. Yes, this arrow mark specifies right shift arithmetic. This is the meaning of it. Same, if I'm going like this, then it is left shift arithmetic. You see, the previously double greater than 2 greater than symbol means right shift logical we said. Here arithmetic we said. Logical means what you do once you are performing a shifting operation, the vacant position will be filled with the zeros. But here is not like that. What you have to do in the sense, let me take example, simple. Let you consider A is equal to 1011. Example you consider. Now I am going to do A by 1. Now what is this meaning? Now what I did? A, that is the right shift arithmetic A by 1 bit position. Now what you will do? Shift. So this one will go out. This one will go out anyway. Then 101 will be there. So just what I'm doing, vacant position and make it X. 101. See, example I'm showing, okay? Because anyway, the 0 will go out. The 0 will be out. 0 will be out, sorry, not 0. The 1 will be out. Okay, this one will be out. Now you see this X, this position will be filled with the next number. What is this next number? Is that number will be filled here. Means the result is what now? The result is 1101. This is the result actually. See, it filled with the next position. This number only will fill in this vacant. If it is 0, this place, if it is 0, then it's filled with the 0. If it is 1, then this will be filled with 1. So why we need this in the sense? Sometimes you may need to preserve the sign. In the sense, you are going to perform some signed multiplier. For example, negative numbers will be there. So you need to preserve the negative sign. So at that time, what you need to perform this kind of operation, so you can preserve the signs. This one indicates sign number. Same the way, if it is left in the same like this one, you have to fill with the zeros. Very important. See, only for right you have to fill with the next this. But when you are performing left, say example, I will show A, S, C. Now this, what I will do? You need to shift left. Means what will be like? What will be the answer? Like if you are shifting left, the MSP 1 will go out. 0, 1, 1. Here the vacant position will come. Now what you have to do? The result will be 0, 1, 1. The X will be replaced by 0 here. Very important. You should not replace with this. Why? Because if you replace this with the same number, then your number will be get changed. So it is the shift left is unsigned. The shift left is unsigned, filled with the zeros. So shift right arithmetic will be performed for signed number. The shift left arithmetic will be used for the unsigned number. This is nothing but shift left right and shift left arithmetic. I hope is it clear? Do you understood? Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now see, so many examples are given. Next, 4 to 1 multiplexer. This already we studied, but here we are going to write the multiplexer 1. See, this is the expression. This is with using the assign statement. This already given. Now I am going to show second method, the 4 to 1 multiplexer using the conditional operator. You see how to write. Compare to gate level model. Here within a single statement I can write. Now module multiplexer output I0, I1, I2, I3, S1, S0. Then these all are common only. Now you see, use nested conditional operator for 4-bit, 4:1 marks. How it will be assigned? Out is equal to, now you see, first I will say, first what is that? As you know, how the conditional operator will perform? Like if the condition is true, then this will be executed, correct? If the condition is false, that is what? If this S1 is true, this will be executed. If the S1 is false, this will be executed. Now you think, I'm going to use 4:1 marks. 4:1 marks in the sense, I'm going to give the values like this. My input, it can be anything. Okay, I'm going to use only S1 equal to 0 and S0 is equal to 1. So what should be your output now? Multiplexer output actually, it is 0, 1. So it's supposed to select what? I1, is it correct? Yes. If S1 is equal to 0, S0 is equal to 1, it is 0, 1. Selection line is 0, 1. So your output is supposed to select the I1 actually. Now let us see here. Okay. So now S1 is 0. S1 is 0 means what will happen? The condition is false. Condition is false, and the straight away you go here. Okay. Now what is S0? S0 is 1. So if the S0 is 1, the condition is true. If the condition is true, what will happen? I1 will be produced. See, this is what. Is it clear? You understood that now? What I said? So here what we kept in the sense in S1, S0 in the truth table, S1, S0, okay, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. It is not mandatory. You have to keep S1 only here. See, any one I can keep. See this S1. 0, 0 is there, correct? 0, 0, 1, 1. So what I'm giving, I'm going to keep as common S1. If the S1 is true, see S1 is true, then I'll check for S0. If S0 is 0, that is the statement is false expression. What will explain? If it is 1 means what? Say S1 is 0 means. So this is what you can write in a single expression. You can see this. Is it clear what is it now? Did you people understood this? Now your homework or the assignment is 8:1 marks. 8:1 marks using conditional operator. How will you write that? 8:1 marks using conditional operator. Same the way what you have to do. So like this will get expand actually this brackets. So what you will do S2, S1, S0 you have to take. You have to be very careful. S2 will be in the outer. First check your condition. Next here we'll have one more bracket will come. See properly you just check, but very clear within this bracket. You see this bracket? Within this bracket we'll have the one question mark, one colon. That's it. Next colon here also see now one question mark, one colon. That is a conditional operator. You have to be very careful by writing this conditional operator. So as per this simple, I can say here, if the S1 is true, then it come over there. If S0 is true, that means 1, 1, then I3 will be produced. Then S1 is true, but S0 is false, means 1, 0. Then automatically I2 will be given as an output. So you take the assignment as 8:1, you try by yourself using the conditional operator. See, this is what I given the expression for this. Next 4-bit adder or parallel adder, replica adder using data flow model. You see, it's very simple. In a single statement is written. See, assign Cout underscore sum is equal to A plus B plus C. And this is the specific function of full adder, simple full adder actually, 4-bit adder. Okay, this is a function of single 4-bit full adder actually in the sense, but I'm not specifying 4-bit full adder. A, B, yes, it is a 4-bit adder only. Next, the method 2, the full adder with the carry look ahead adder. In examination, they may ask, you know that carry look ahead adder, how it will be. So already you studied in your logic design, take that to your expression and you have to do. So everything is given here. Just to go through the carry look ahead adder and you can study because already you studied this carry look ahead adder. What will happen? Already we are having the sum expression is A XOR B XOR C. Then carry expression will be A B B C C A. Then from this what happened? Carry expression took us like this A B. The carry is common A plus B. From this I will get two common things. I will get the one is nothing but generation, that is G, that is called as A dot B. Next A plus B is nothing but propagation. So now we need to generate a circuit for, you need to develop a circuit for generation and propagation, then you will get the circuit. See, this is what generated and propagation we have to generate, then we will get the diagrams. Then from this expression, you have to write the code. You take this also as an assignment. Don't see straight away. You write your 4-bit carry look ahead adder. See, this is for each and every stage the given clearly is given. So easily you can write. Once you know the diagram, it will be very, very easy. Next, 4-bit triple carry counter. You return 4-bit triple carry counter using gate level model only. Here we are showing using data flow model. See how to write 4-bit triple carry counter using data flow model. So as you know, the 4-bit triple carry counter is made up of T flip-flop. That T flop is derived from the D flip-flop actually. So you have to go for a D flip-flop. See T. This is T flip-flop. You have to write the data flow statement for this. So how to write in the sense, very important here. See, there's a clock. Again, you have to go for internal circuitry over there. See the internal circuit of this. This is the internal circuit of this. There is a negative edge trigger D flip-flop with the clear using 3 SR latches. So for this, you have to write the data flow statement. See here, it's written. This is a main program of TFF in the gate level model. But the data flow model you have to write for T flip-flop. So that is separately you have to write. You know that how to write. So Verilog code for T flip-flop. You see here how it has to be written. See, same edge trigger, negative edge triggered. Okay. So output input, then edge DFF, D flip-flop. So here you can see in the D flip-flop Q comma not Q clock. See here one important thing is I'm showing inside this statement is that we are using the operator. See this. Notice that instead of using one more assigned statement, here itself straight away I can use not Q actually. So it is nothing but an unconnected port. Why I am using this in the sense? Because in your flip-flop, you see this? In this flip-flop, in this diagram actually Q is there, but Q bar is not there. But if I go the internal circuitry of this, I'm having Q and the Q bar. So here the Q bar is missing. Q bar is missing and thus it is here unconnected port. That is the meaning of that. So how can I write in the program here? You have to write in this way. That is what we are showing here. See Q bar, clock clear. Then now you see Verilog code for edge trigger D flip-flop in the data flow. Very important. If they ask 4-bit triple carrier counter, what you need to do? So you have to write the gate level model of 4-bit triple carrier counter. Then you have to write the gate level model of HDFF, that is T flip-flop separately. Then you have to go internally again D flip-flop in the data flow model. Very important. See, this is the data flow model of your D flip-flop module via data flow statements. See here, assign statement C bar is equal to from the diagram. Which diagram? For this diagram. For this diagram, we return the data flow statements here. See here, it's written data flow statement. You can check this because already we know how to write. Next here, stimulus in the sense test bench program. So this is the test bench program for the triple carry counter. See here, it is very, very important when you have to clear, when you have to run the counter. So you need to set up the clock to toggle every 10 times units. Here, don't worry about this. The forever in our behavior model we'll study. So this is later we'll study what it is means forever actually. So this is the output will produce because how output will be displayed like this in the sense you might have written in the program here. See, monitor. You have to do monitor. Very, very important. So $time. So every current simulation time the count will be displayed because sometimes the parameter may change. Q and clear. See, the clear is 1, counter is cleared. When clear is 0, the counter started to count. So it will go as like this. This is nothing but the 4-bit triple carry counter. I hope you understood this. So in this, I given the exercise solutions also is given in this. Very, very important. So go through the exercise here, which is given because the examination. They may ask the exercises also. See the comparators. These comparators already you studied in your logic design. Once again, go through the comparator. Next here, one more thing is they given master slave flip-flop. Then 4-bit synchronous counter using JK flip-flop. master slave, JK flip flop, for that stimulus. So these all the things are you studied already because I given the idea in the beginning class itself how to write. So use that and go through study this because in examination they may ask. So Verilog code for full subtractor, they'll ask the questions like this. A full subtractor has 3 inputs, one has borrow. They'll give the expression, they'll ask you to write the code for this. The code is written, then test bench code also you have to write.